All right, it's a few minutes after 11 Eastern. So if you're not in Eastern, I don't mean to confuse you. But let's get started so we can get everybody back to their day. I'm Tony Petricola. I am president of AgileBlue.
I'm Steve Smith. I'm the CTO at AgileBlue.
Absolutely. And thank every one of our customers, partners for joining today. We appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day. Understand, obviously, you might not be able to stay the whole time. You might not even be able to join. We will send the deck and the recording for you guys so you can see not only what was added in Q2, which you've already been apprised of, but more importantly, what's coming in Q3 and a sneak peek at Q4. So why don't we go ahead and dive in and let's talk a little bit about Q2. I don't know why our slides aren't progressing. Okay, they'll progress that way. So the Q2 recap really was focused around a couple of concepts that are really laying out our whole goal of being an autonomous security operations platform. The big piece that we launched in Q2, and you'll see some of the other things that launched around it, was Sapphire AI decisioning. Look, the way we look at security operations is you have to have great technology, but you also got to have a great 24/7 team. In fact, after our last product update, we did have some customers call us, email us, whatever, and say, hey, I just want to make sure our 24/7 team is never going away. Our 24/7 team will never go away. They're there to do investigations. They're there to do threat hunts. They're there to inform you. And more importantly, they're there to respond at any time to any potential cyber attack. So never think that 24/7 team is ever going away. We're there to provide that extension of your team 24/7, no matter what's going on, no matter where you are. The technology, though, allows us to be faster, allows us to be more accurate, and to stay ahead of cyber attacks. So that's why we launched Sapphire AI decisioning, which everybody has customer-wise in their portals, like that we launched a few weeks ago. But Steve, why don't you talk us through AI decisioning and what that means for our platform overall, especially the autonomy of our security operations platform, and how that played into some other things we launched with auto close, with the autonomous playbooks. Kind of walk us through those things.
Yeah. So with our AI decisioning in play, which currently we only have it set to operate more or less on just benign cases of actually performing some kind of an action. So as you might see it already within cases, you'll see more or less your insight summary, but you also now have more or less you could say is a summary of what decisioning determined based on the facts of that case, historical case data, as well as kind of touching into those autonomous playbooks. So maybe you have other things you want to happen that might say this might be malicious, so this might be benign, to kind of all feed that into building it. So it generates its own confidence score of just how confident it is that it is a benign case, or it thinks it's a malicious case, or it might just not know, which that happens. And then tying all into those, we then have kind of pairs out to our auto closing. So that way, if it's a benign case, it has a high confidence of that. I think it's about 80% or 80 score of 80. It sets that as to say, hey, this is high likelihood this is benign, so no one needs to worry about it. But it also does set on a 10-minute timer. So that way, if maybe a malicious alert does come in that is tied to that case, then that will automatically readjust its confidence, readjust what its decision is. So that way it can always constantly be available of new information that might be represented. And then those autonomous playbooks come in of more or less us kind of saying, hey, here's some things that might be acceptable. User might be taking a trip to China. Put that into the playbooks, and now if those logins happen from Microsoft, decisioning can take that into account to say, oh, this is malicious, potentially malicious, but actually it's benign because this is valid operations.
Absolutely.
And then just around all that, it's just a general enhancement. More or less we did to the UI for all those case pages. So now if there are things we determine are actual malicious coming from IOCs, from threat intel, they will appear at the top to say, hey, here's a malicious hash, here's a malicious IP address, to kind of label that right at the top. And then as well as you scroll through those artifacts, which can be lengthy, they'll label that as also red, just to let you know what's going on.
And here's the key. It's not just that UI. When we talk about how technology helps our team be faster and more accurate, if the technology can look at all that data and then combine threat intelligence and then understand that data and say, hey, I do think this is benign, or I do think this is malicious. It then brings in obviously someone from the SOC team to then do something, whether that could be closed out if it's not closed out automatically, or whether it could be, hey, I do think there's something here. The key is, let's let the technology work through all those files, work through all those logs. Let's let the technology help the SOC people get to a spot where we're just making decisions and making a response, not having to do everything to a response. So just about 70%, a little sized 70% of more efficiency coming from our SOC team. That allows us to be so much faster when there is a malicious intent, a malicious attack, for us to make a faster response. This is the type of accuracy or speed we're seeing. This is the type of efficiencies we're seeing. And that accuracy rate hovering right around 98%. And Steve, let me ask you a question. You said, hey, it's going to keep it open for 10 minutes. It's going to make sure that confidence score is good, or maybe it lowers it to say, hey, we got to bring somebody in. Are we feeding this data back into the model so we continue to get smarter, more intelligent, more accurate every day of the week for every single client we have?
Yeah. So all those cases, especially if they're new, they're uncommon, they're unusual, or they might be a bit to be reinforced, those all get sent back in to be retrained. And then our SOC team is also more or less spot checking throughout that, just to make sure things are making the right decisions. It's operating the correct way. So we have that oversight to make sure it's always working the way that we want it to work.
Awesome. That's great. And just like Steve is built in Ohio, so is this technology. So if you're in the great state of Ohio, this stuff is all built here, right? So that's a good thing. All right, so that's what we launched in Q2, amongst a number of other little things that generally went with our enhancements. That's out. Everybody has that. And AI decisioning is key to the response we laid out in Q1 and launched in Q1, and what we'll be launching in Q3 and into Q4. So with that Q2 recap, let's talk a little bit about Q3. And now the clicker's working, so you don't need to be the clicker.
I am.
All right, so what's coming in Q3? Let's go over these enhancements. So when we look at Q3, we think about Q3 as working also with integrated partners that we do work with. If you remember in Q1, I believe it was, we launched an integration with ConnectWise, unless that was Q4. They kind of blend, but we launched a big integration with ConnectWise for all of our MSP partners, all of our partners that use ConnectWise. As you can see here, even though I'm on the bottom there, we're going to be doing a same integration with Autotask, which for a lot of other MSP partners was important to them. But when you think about our autonomy with our platform, if we could bring that to the different tools that our customers might be using, things like Defender, which is a very ubiquitous tool that Microsoft publishes, that's something that we will be launching here early in Q3. And as we launch these, obviously, like we do with all of our customers, after they get through security and they get through QA and all those great things, we'll be announcing those to our customers, updating those, and then giving you the ability to utilize that technology. If you're not utilizing that technology, that's great. We understand some of our other customers might be integrated with SentinelOne or CrowdStrike, and you'll be seeing those as we get later this year. Steve, but talk a little bit about some of the new antivirus stuff that was launched, which I guess is considered legacy antivirus. So now, we have EDR and XDR and all these great acronyms. We have next gen AV. Okay, we've had that. But now we add the component of AV, traditional antivirus. Maybe we can talk through a little bit of that and what everybody's going to be gaining here in Q3 as well.
Yeah. So kind of as through Q3, as we're kind of looking at this, is more as we've had a lot of asks for, hey, we want to still have some of that peace of mind of being a little proactive, because our EDR currently as it operates, it's mainly operating in a runtime state. So when something gets loaded, launched, that's when it's doing its job. So a part of this is that our AV now has that, or EDR more has the ability now to scan static files.
Yeah.
As more as we call it, like on-demand scanning, as well as setting up stuff to be able to schedule scans. So you can schedule a system scan, however many times you want, what time frames, whenever you need, just to kind of see if there's anything malicious potentially as a file that just hasn't been touched. And as by default, now with the newer versions of our agent and our EDR, there is now the more set that anytime files are created or modified, they get an on-demand scan right out the gate. So before anything
great.
happens to them, they're automatically scanned and processed.
So our clients that have our agent have had EDR. When you're combining the network and cloud, you're having the XDR, meaning the extended detection and response. You've always had NGAV, which is next generation AV, and now you got that traditional antivirus that's all running, that can be scheduled to scan and run, and you're running it all from one interface, from one agent, thus consolidating agents, consolidating the runtimes, putting less stress on your systems, but still giving you that complete coverage of everything that you're expecting. It's a big win. We like that. Again, once we launch that, we'll be launching that out to everybody individually. Also, it might seem like a small win, but for some folks, it's a major win. Exception management, scheduling and running those scans will all be part of the portal as well. Again, giving customers a little bit more flexibility in what they run. Now, some of our customers more hands-on, they want to do that exception management. Some are hands completely off and they want us to do that. Either way, we'll be able to, like we do it now, be able to handle it both ways, but we'll allow our clients to do it now, doing their own exception management. So Steve, talk a little bit about SSO integration. We've talked about SSO. Some of our clients have been asking for SSO for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been pestering you to do it for a long time. So talk a little bit about single sign-on and how we're going to launch that. And obviously everybody understands the benefits of single sign-on, but maybe you can kind of walk through that, how it's going to make the system even more secure, more efficient for our customers.
Yeah. So coming out probably within, we're hoping this month, it's going to be, now you're going to have the ability just to log in via Microsoft. So that means you now can take user account control and access kind of, outside of us, and you can embed that with inside of Microsoft. So you can say, hey, users that can access, can't, as well as, who can access into the portal. It makes, in our testing so far, it makes it really nice because now you don't get prompted so often. You just click one button. If you're already signed in, you're going all the way through without any issues.
Right.
I like it a lot.
Right.
I say that.
Key word there, without any issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Steve's email will be at the end of this presentation. So if there happens to be one, you'll solve it.
It auto forwards to you, correct?
Beautiful. All right, the next thing we want to talk about, and this is a huge win for us all. It's right in the middle of the screen, custom report generation with Sapphire Assistant. So look, I know we have a lot of folks on this call. I don't know how many interface with Sapphire AI Assistant daily, weekly, whatever it might be, but everybody wants and needs their reports. So instead of reports being currently where you go and select what you need and the date range, you're going to be able to work with Sapphire Assistant to talk to our AI and say, hey, I'm looking for a report from June, my executive reports. Can you pull those up? Can you send them to me in that PDF? However you're used to consuming those. So instead of you having to go grab those reports and dig for them, Sapphire is going to bring those directly to you. Our AI, so Sapphire AI, for those of you who just might need a little bit of brush up on it, completely understands your implementation, understands your network, your cloud, your endpoints. Sapphire is built to completely understand you, not everything. You, threats, our system, so it's very focused. As we continue to add more self-service to our platform, we want Sapphire AI to be more proactive for you. So this is a second step outside of being able to ask Sapphire whatever you currently ask it. This step is to also now ask Sapphire to bring you reports on your command whenever you need them. Anything you'd like to say about that? And down the road with Sapphire, the more proactive we could be, hopefully the less time and energy our clients have to do for themselves with our platform.
Yeah. So this is more just an extra expansion to the assistant to make it more assistant-y.
Yeah, that's a word I'm going to try later on, but yes, go ahead.
But yeah, so we know because we got a lot of clients that were emailing our customer success team, their customer success managers saying, hey, we need to view this data in different kind of means and ways. And so the kind of thought here is, well, now we'll kind of give you an unbiased view so you can view the data however way you wish, however you want, and you don't have to wait potentially for some time to transpire for communications to go through, to get that to generate to send back. Through people, you can just, whenever you want, 2 a.m. in the morning, you just really want to generate a report, by all means. the system will be there waiting for you.
Usually I generate my reports around 3 a.m. So hey, 2 a.m. is a big gain. The whole point is more and more, let Sapphire do the work for you. Let Sapphire do more work for us. This way we're all more efficient in what we do. And I don't know a better way than to help clients than reporting. People are always looking for reports, different types of reports, different data, different date ranges. You'll have that with Sapphire. That will probably come out later this quarter, but obviously that will launch this quarter. So again, as you see here, a lot more enhancements to third-party integrations and the autonomy we have with those, more proactive scripts and things like that with Sapphire Assistant. And hopefully everybody loves the ability to run the traditional A/B scans as well, thus reducing vendor sprawl, different technologies that have to work together. All right, that's Q3. Hopefully you guys are excited about that. We take in all of our customer feedback. Trust me, our customers have fantastic feedback, and you'll see some of those on this list right now. So with that, we'll give you a sneak peek into Q4 next. Q4 still a little bit of a work in progress. We're not 100% through Q4 yet in exactly what we'll be offering, but you'll see it's got a lot of the important themes to it, primarily around our agentic agent framework. So let's talk a little bit about that. Lots of buzzwords with AI.
Oh, yes.
AI, agentic, AGI, all these great things that are coming out. And when we think about an agentic AI framework, it's a framework that uses reasoning. It's a framework that can make decisions, then can make decisions to respond, continual learning off those decisions, and then continually moving the platform forward. That's how we view an agentic framework for security operations. And that's what we're going to be building into our next generation of our agents. So Steve, maybe talk a little bit about your vision for that agentic AI agent, how it's going to help our clients, and more importantly, how it's going to make our clients more secure.
Yeah. So the primary focus that we have for this framework is mainly that there's still a lot of tasks out there that everyone has to complete and do, by our SOC team having to still do some research on some other things, look at other sites, look at different points of data, even down to maybe the software has a bit of a problem and it requires some communication, some help to get that resolved. So the part of our Melissa's agentic framework we're looking to create is to want us to be able to say, hey, how can we best automate these types of things without the complexity of what would be considered like traditional automation of big lists of things you have to do step by step by step by step. Make it into something that's a little bit more general and generic to an extent, still security focused. That just allows for more dynamicy in things that can change. This could be, throughout our SOC process, which means our analysts are able to get more information. They can spend less time having to do a lot of, searching or looking for stuff because it's right there at their fingertips. Same thing for our clients that do that type of investigations themselves, as well as even to our own agent if is automatically detecting potential issues or problems and course correcting and fixing that without having to, see that issue, rise up, become a big problem or anything like that, to try and just get ahead of all those types of things. So that's where we're kind of looking at that most agentic framework to help just expedite and try to get, automate more of these tasks and more of these items just so we can become more efficient, which means our SOC team's more efficient, which means we're able to respond and handle incident just that much more faster for our clients.
Yep, absolutely. And if there's one thing that we've seen is the faster we're able to move on a potential attack, that gives us the best ability to either shut it down or mitigate it to the point where we're not seeing anything of substance. And that's huge. And that's, we believe, that next step with our agentic framework of what it's going to do for our clients. Next, just like we launched Sapphire AI autonomy for benign cases, we'll be doing the same thing on the malicious side. The malicious side takes a little bit longer. There's a lot more processing to happen, and we better be extraordinarily sure of what we have going on. So Steve, talk a little bit about what our clients will be getting by the end of the year and how that's going to make things a lot easier on a potential malicious case.
Yeah. So this is going to be able to analyze those cases, make that same determination if it's benign or malicious. If it's malicious, we're going to have a lot more features to allow clients to control that because that could be a very touchy thing. But it would have the ability then to automatically fire off that autonomous response. So which you can set based on those response tags to say, hey, do these types of actions or these, or I need a person. So this allows the expedite of that. So now we can say that the bottom half that are benign cases, maybe it's the bottom 20% that are benign.
Okay.
That we're high confidence in. And the goal here is to also shift that also to that 20% malicious case that we know are highly malicious. But as you stated, our 24/7 team's never going away. And they're also going to be constantly making sure and evaluating that what our decisions are accurate.
Yeah. Obviously, a big portion of what we're talking to you guys about today is our 24/7 team is never going away. And here's another reason we say that. There's other technologies that are coming on. They're definitely automating processes, right? But when you automate a process, obviously there still needs to be people involved. And if you don't have your own 24/7 team, or if your team just has other things to do during a regular 9 to 5 shift, it doesn't matter what you automate, you still need a team, right? So if we're able to do both, have a true security operations platform that is autonomous, able to automate those workflows that are very human intensive, that cause time delays and potentially accuracy delays. And we're able to get lightning fast, high degree of accuracy. Either our technology can move in an autonomous fashion and respond, or bring in a human being, whatever your preference is, to make that final decision and respond for you. AgileBlue is given both the technology and the automated technology and the team to make that happen. Huge. We don't want people just hearing autonomous and they're thinking, well, what happened to my 24/7 team? That team's still here and they're growing every day of the week. Okay, next, the automation of our 365 security module. Big deal for us and big deal for our clients using 365, which is pretty much almost 100%. We have a lot of schools and educational institutions using Google products, but with 365, it still remains one of the largest attack surfaces we see with our customers, and of course across the internet, right? So when you think about everything running from 365, Microsoft's pushing everything into 365, there's still so much going into the 365 assessment. You might have that, you might have security, but configurations change, configuration setups, maybe not in best practice, different things like that. Our module, which works today and we sell around today, and everybody who wants that module has it today, will be autonomous in our platform coming up at the end of the year. But that module is live today and catching a lot of great things for our clients.
Yes,
absolutely. And then finally, we'll begin our user behavior analytics module, which will most likely launch in Q1 of 2026, calendar year Q1. The whole point of our user behavior module is to really understand internal user behaviors of your entire systems, networks, cloud, activities, movements. Even though we track a lot of these things now, this module will prepare things in a different user interface, really designed for that internal threat. And even more importantly, as data becomes more secure, being able to really track that data, where it is, where it's going, and who's moving things, who potential or who is a potential threat to your most valuable thing, which is data. So we'll be doing more with user behavior analytics. We do a ton with it now. It's integrated in our platform, lots of alerts that we monitor for that, but really breaking this out into its own separate module allows us to really extend internal threats and data threats specifically. So that's something that will start in Q4. You'll see it roll out in Q1, and we think our clients are going to love that. It's going to give them a huge perspective, because remember, even though it's a small percentage, insider threats are still a very big thing. All right, with that, we just rolled out what we did in Q2. Hope you love it. What's coming in Q3? Hope you thought that sneak peek was good. And really, more importantly, the launch of our agentic framework and more autonomy coming in Q4. So with that, why don't we see what questions have come across? Sam, are you able to help Steve and I understand some of the questions that might be out there? And we'll go back to the giveaway here in a little bit, like we always do.
Yeah, of course. So it looks like we do have some that are coming in here. The first one we've got, the question is, when will we be able to repair or uninstall agents via portal to match offerings like SentinelOne and Sophos? Great question.
Yeah, great question.
So uninstall and repair features. Currently, Agent does have uninstall built in with the side of it. We're looking at most incorporating that through the portal to be able to more or less perform an install. And with the next update to our agent, it'll be able to perform its own repair. So I can coincide with our, autonomous framework kind of building out. So we're looking at those items. Those are, I think, on a roadmap for this quarter agent development.
So you guys will see, that's a great question. Whoever brought that up, you'll see that at the end of this quarter. And why that's a great question, and I'll just pull it apart, is as a lot of clients work with us because they say, hey, we trust AgileBlue and we thank you for trusting us. Our team works tirelessly to earn your trust every day. We hope you know that. They want us to do a lot of the work, right? Well, we have a lot of clients also who want to be more self-sufficient. So some of these things brought up just like this, where in the past we would do all that work for the client. Some of our clients want to do that work and have a little bit more autonomy for themselves. So that type of work that we're used to doing, we're going to bring out to our clients, like some of that reporting and some of those other things. So you guys spoke, we heard you, that will be in Q3. That's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, looks like we've got a couple more here. These are all great questions. Okay, our next one is around Sapphire AI. So they're asking, how does Sapphire AI decide which cases are safe to auto close? And importantly, how much visibility will analysts have into those decisions is their question.
Yeah. So for kind of like we mentioned earlier, for decisioning and how it operates, is it does take that case, all the data, the alerts, the artifacts we have for that case, as well as past historical kind of cases that also fall alongside of that to kind of make its determination. And as you can see in the cases now, you'll have at the very top of the screen, it'll more or less tell you, hey, I think it's benign. I have a confidence of 95. Well, it doesn't just show just those numbers with inside. It'll give you an actual description of saying, here's more or less why I think it's making this decision, and it'll label out more or less, these are the factors I used in order to make those decisions. Yeah. So that's currently constantly out there right now.
I'll give you this example. Back in the day, you were in school and your teacher said, what's 6 times 6? And you said 36.
I thought it was 32.
And it felt pretty good about knowing memorizing my times tables. And then she said, hey, now show me your work. And that's when you were like, well, I'm screwed. That's what we do. We show the work to everything. And not only that work to bring that clarity and more importantly, show you everything that we're thinking through. That's the work that gets fed back into the platform. So we're constantly learning and updating. So if something was a false positive and we thought it was a positive, the system can learn from that and vice versa.
Yeah. And as I said, we are taking, more big sample sizes of those cases that it makes a decision on. And the analysts are most reviewing those items to make sure that it's always more providing an accurate account. And if it does get something wrong, you can talk to your customer success manager about that process. But we do have a process that the analysts will pull that out, and get going and on that as quickly as they can.
Yeah, the analyst has that ability to override and really understand this case and make those decisions on the response. Great question. Thank you for that. Sam?
Yep. Thanks for submitting the questions, guys. We've got another one here too. So they have written, assuming this will be the case, but would love to confirm, with the Entra ID SSO, will dual access method be disabled, meaning not allowing authentication through any other method, i.e. local, other than Entra ID?
Correct. Once more or less you say for that user account and they log in through Microsoft, then that's the only means you're able to log in from that point forward. The portal will no longer accept a local login. We do know in some instances and use cases, there could be some problems or issues, which we do have the ability to convert those back to a local account if need be. But you can always reach out to support to kind of get the process for that started. But yes, it's only going to be one or the other. And if you use Microsoft, then you're using Microsoft till the end of time.
That sounds ominous, but okay. Sam.
Great question. Here's another one we've got. Thanks for submitting these, guys. What is the functionality of response bottoms, benign, investigate, malicious for Sapphire AI, decisioning emails if the case is already closed? Are clients expected to respond to Sapphire AI closed cases?
You understand the question? I don't. I can't help you on this one.
So that question is more or less getting yeah.
want me to repeat it? I'll say it one more time. So what is the functionality of response? I think they maybe meant to
Yes,
put buttons.
I think it's the response to the
In
email.
the email, yeah, gotcha now.
Options you get.
Oh,
Yeah,
what you
gotcha.
want. Yeah, and then what was the final part of that? I just want to make sure I got it.
So are clients expected to respond to Sapphire AI closed cases?
Expected, just no, you're not expected to respond to those. But if you do think there's something odd, or maybe you still want to be investigated further, then by all means you can select just the options you get within that email to respond back, and that will then change those statuses.
Yeah.
To more or less that response item.
Just like our SOC team has the ability to override and open something up and re-review something. If a client is getting that data and they want us to do the same thing, like, hey, I want you guys to look at this. That's one click of a button, sends it back to the SOC. If you're on your phone, you hit that email, sends it back to the SOC. We will look at that. So you don't have to, like Steve said, but we have the fail safes in there in case you want to.
Awesome. Great questions, guys. That's all that I'm seeing for now. So I think we are good on the Q&A
Great.
portion. Yeah.
If anybody has any other questions, throw them out, or everybody knows how to email, text us. We'll pull up some data or information in a second about how to contact us. But anytime you have a question, ask Steve or I or your customer success rep, whomever you want at AgileBlue will answer that. And by the way, it's the first time in about a year we haven't had a question that says, are you guys going to do something with SSO? My God, please. So, man, we heard you guys, and thanks so much for that, because hopefully this will make life a lot easier for you. All right, you guys have given us 35 minutes, and that's a lot, and we appreciate that very much. Our job is to constantly update you on what's happening, not just for you to assume or get an email. So thank you for taking time to do this. So we have to have a giveaway. You guys gave us 35 minutes. We're going to give away something. Apparently, we're going to get everybody a couple of cocktails here as we wind down summer. Yeah, summer's almost wound down.
Use one of those right now.
Yeah, I could use one of these too. How come I never available for this thing? But the Bartesian cocktail maker. Love it. Sam, what do you got?
Yes. So exciting news, everybody. We're giving away a really awesome giveaway today to one of our lucky attendees. So this is called the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. For those of you who haven't heard of it, it's basically like a Keurig, but for cocktails. So pretty cool, pretty convenient to make yourself a drink. So we have gone ahead and randomly selected a winner out of everybody who is registered today. So I'm going to announce the winner now. Our winner of the cocktail maker is Tave Fitzpatrick. Forgive me if I misspoke on your first name, but congratulations to you for winning the giveaway. I'm going to reach out to you here shortly to get an address so we can ship you your giveaway. We hope you enjoy it, and thank you to Tave for attending the webinar and everybody else as well. So we hope you enjoy.
Tave, I know you don't know Steve or myself very well, but part of the thing of this is we got to come over and have a cocktail with you. So you just made two new friends, or maybe people you don't want to have friends, but we like cocktails. All right, everyone. Thanks for doing this. Here's our contact information, emails, however you want to get a hold of us. Let us know if you have any questions, any roadmap items you'd like to see. Probably won't make it into Q3, could potentially make it into Q4. And of course, we hit our customers all the time with what's going on, how you feeling about things. And those could also definitely get into the roadmap for 2026 in Q1 or Q2. So any thoughts you have, we always want those from our clients. You guys see things just as well as we do. If there aren't any other questions, Sam, thank you all for your time today. We'll do this again next quarter. I don't know what the giveaway is going to be, but it's got to be something wintry. Less cocktails, more wintry. I don't know. They probably still go together. But thank you very much for your time, everyone. Again, any other questions, just let us know. Everybody have a fantastic day. And thanks again for joining Steve and I.